tell you that I love you, then I run. I tell you that I love you, then I run. I tell you that I love you, then I run for cover. Love you like no other, then I run. Good morning. It's a lovely morning here. Don't know what time it is there, but hope you hope it's nice where you are. It's kind of the sun is shining. It's quite early in the morning. It's 7:30 in the morning. This is kind of, wow, ridiculous, but it's nice. I like this time of morning. My name's Nigel. I am the singer and songwriter of the Plymouth-based indie funk band The Curve. And this is my vlog. I think I should be calling it a vlog now. I've been calling it blog. I don't know, but anybody can tell me what I'm supposed to call this. That would be great. Songs nobody asked me for. And today I just wanted to talk a bit about promotion and how to promote yourself pretty badly, really. This is the theme of a lot of what I'm talking about here, really, I think. And I think that... I've been really reflecting on this one because it's kind of, in a sense, I could just give you a list of terrible things that I've not done very well, really. But I don't know whether it help or not, or whether I've got anything else to say about it, really. I think that, again, early days, late 80s, 90s, it was kind of, there were only certain ways you could promote yourself, really. And nowadays, there seem to be a multitude of ways, but ways that seem very hard to access, certainly online ways of promoting yourself. And people kind of say you see so many, I said this in the first episode, I think you see so many ads and people on Instagram and on Facebook and on TikTok saying, are you still trying to promote yourself by doing this? You need to do this. And then, of course, you go on to them and they want you to pay. And some of them are scams and some of them are not. And it's really hard to work out what's what, really. So I thought I might just try and talk through some of the things I think that get in my way and some of the things I do try and do, or have tried to do. Some of which are sensible, but I'm just not very good at, really. And then I don't know. Again, if I have, this is my I'm racking about 5-6 of these episodes before I put them out, so I'm still in that really nervous. Is this something that's worth doing here? And am I doing this any good? So it's not out yet, so I don't know if anybody's following this. And if you are following it, I'm really interested in people putting on here for each other, really, and for me. What works for you and what you do well. If I think of the band I was in when I set it up at school with Pav, and then Pav and I set up another band in London, and then coming down to Plymouth and eventually, being in The Curve. One of the things I've been really lucky with is what really nice people I work with. We've played around the different circuits with bands that really don't get on and have arguments and they fall out in practice. We never do that. I've never been in a band that does that. I have some thoughts and reasons why that is, beyond the fact that I've been very lucky to just work with really nice people. The problem is, really nice people are not very good at promoting themselves. And so, I can be very creative, and the guys I'm playing with now, they come together and they just really work on the music that I bring, and they create something new from it, really. And I love that. Very often I think we're going in a particular direction and it goes somewhere completely different. I really enjoy that. But nobody in any of the bands I've been in is a person that says, right, give all that to me, I'm going to go and get us a gig, or I'm going to go and promote us. And it ends up, I think, in each of them that I'm probably the person who most feels comfortable to do that. I really don't feel comfortable about doing it at all. So I'm not a salesman, I'm a good therapist. You want to come and see me for therapy, I'm a really, really good therapist. But I'm not good at selling myself, and I'm not good at selling anything, really. So being a product that we need to sell has been really hard over the years. I always remember when we were in the band in London in the late 80s, early 90s, Brilliant But. I remember once we made a load of stickers because we didn't have the internet or computer stuff and to make everything. So we made all these little stickers which we'd hand done with the Brilliant But logo on it and Brilliant But. And then sneakily sort of catching the tube and sort of having one in my hand and placing it on a sort of one of the posts in there, or my hand on the wall so that we'd have these things. And, this would be a thing. You'd see a lot more flyers and stickers and stuff around. And in one night, I particularly remember Pav and I getting some probably A4 flyers made. So your A3 paper and then just half of that, little ones. And waiting till about midnight. This is when we lived in the East End, and going up the East End of London and going around all these places and with a bucket of wallpaper paste and fly posting around, which you kind of felt like you could get arrested for doing. But we did quite a lot of it, and it was really scary for me. And we were out there thinking, oh, someone's going to see us doing this, putting up all these things all over the place. And then really feeling chuffed with myself. And then the next day, going to work and walking to the tube, and everywhere I'd put them on had been re-fly posted by bigger companies with, people advertising bigger things, right over the top of everything we'd done. And they must have been out maybe an hour later. We were obviously clearly not late enough. But it was so frustrating. We had been out for over an hour, hour and a half, going around all the local sort of areas doing this and walking through. And after that, I kind of went around to some of these, and it all gone. Maybe I saw one. It was soul destroying. Tried standing outside tube stations handing out flyers, and people just wouldn't take them, or you'd see they'd take them and then just drop them on the floor. And it's kind of really difficult, but it's kind of the stuff you needed to do. Yes, I suppose it's about grafting to try and promote yourself. Nowadays, I find it difficult because there are easier ways of doing things. So obviously you have Facebook and, for my generation increasingly, but on Facebook, there are sort of, within the Southwest here, there are Southwest sites that are on Facebook looking for bands. And again, what I have to deal with is 90% of them are looking for a covers band or a tribute act. Some of them are looking for, duets or acoustic people on their own. And yeah, there's very few of them. And if I find one that's looking for anything, then I can put a comment on there. And generally I DM people, direct message people, and because that way I kind of figure maybe, I stand a chance of. But I'll see that there, even if I see something like that day, there'll already be 30 comments on there with 30 different bands. So how you stand out from that is very difficult to do and know. And my sense of it is, some of it is how many followers you have on your social media. And, I think we've got about 300 followers on Facebook, and maybe, I might be exaggerating, but I think about 800 on Instagram. But it's like league football. It's kind of like, you see I look at some of the other bands, and then they've got 1,000 or 2,000 or something, and you think, okay, I am Accrington Stanley. I'm not Manchester United, or not that I support Manchester United, not that I've got anything wrong with Accrington Stanley. It has a great memory for me of baked beans adverts, which some of you get, some of you won't. So it kind of puts you in your place a little bit, makes you kind of think, yeah, that's where I am. So I'm not very good at the other way of developing gigs in my sort of music with small venues, which is to knock on the door. So all of the pubs that we've got gigs from, quite a few of them has been through messaging, finding their sites, messaging them saying, do you have bands? And I reckon for every 10 pubs that maybe I was to contact, maybe 2 of them, even 1 of them might get back. In fact, no, I'm going to say 3 of them get back. 1 of them would say, no, we don't. 1 of them say possibly, and then I might do a little dance with them, and the other one will get back and be really, chatty, and maybe we'll get a gig from them, But it's not easy. And many people say they're interested in something, you message them and they never get back. So many people don't get back. And as a plea to any venues, just a quick note saying, oh, sorry, you're not for us. You're literally, sorry, you're not for us. And I would really value that. And I always really nice, if ever anybody gets back and say, oh, I'm really sorry, we're looking for a covers band, I just always get back and I say, oh, I really appreciate you getting back. Thank you. Because, it's really, you're there sitting there thinking, is this going to be, is it not? And some places I've pursued, and eventually, after about, I should probably be really persistent, but I'm very nice and say, oh, I just wondered if you saw I noticed I haven't heard back from you. And I do all this stuff, and then you don't hear. And eventually, someone might get back and say, oh, no, mate, we're not doing it. Or I had one the other day, really nice guy. He said, oh, I've just taken over the venue. And so the people before clearly had never bothered to get back to me, even though they say, "Oh, message me here, message me here." So I've done that. And that's really frustrating. Some places have email addresses. I've tried that. I'm good at all of those. I can do that because I'm very good at writing stuff. You know, I'm very good at articulating myself through the written word. I hate phone calls. I can't do that. I'm in very few places you're going to phone. And then the obvious thing really is going in and cold calling, really. And I do this occasionally. I've got this little thing here, if I can get it out, and I've got this little sort of sheet. This is my kind of most up-to-date one, and I kind of take it in, you know, and if I feel confident enough, I, you know, say, "Oh, I'm looking for a gig," and then very often, you know, someone will say, "Oh, the manager or the person who's doing it is not here," and then I say, "Oh, well, you know, could I leave some information, you know?" And then what I do is I bottle out of it and I don't follow up, you know, or I think, "Oh, yeah, I've left this information. Somebody's going to give me a call now and say, oh, yeah, come and have a gig here, you know." But you know, people don't, you know. So I could do better, really. So I think for all of my frustration that people are not, you know, don't get into original music, I'm really aware that I have a very fragile confidence about what I do and what I produce. So on the one hand, I'm super confident about my material and what I write and what I do. But when I come to going out there and saying to people, "Hey, you need to come and see this because it's amazing and fantastic," I can't do it. I'm not very good at it, you know. I don't know how to push myself into that zone of doing that, really. It would be good. One of the things we did, which I think works really well, is we got these kind of calling cards made. And they're really nice, and it's a really snappy calling card. It's nice. That's got our sort of I don't know whether that works here. Hey, look at that, shameless advertising. If it does, you could try clicking on that and let me know if you go into our Instagram. It just says a bit about us. Talks a little about our origins in a way, because it calls us an acoustic indie funk band. But I'm going to save that for when I, you know, meet with one or more of the guys to talk about our origins and how we developed as a band, really. But they're great, and you know, I throw them out at people at gigs, and or if anybody, what I often do is if we play one of our what I'd call our difficult gigs, where maybe you can just see that maybe only 2 or 3 people are into us, I'll always go and I'll give them one of those cards afterwards. I'll go and say hello. You know, I am quite good at that. I'm quite good if I see somebody's enjoying what we're doing. I'm pretty good at saying afterwards, "Oh, you know, thanks for coming." And then I say, "Oh, do follow us." And probably, yeah, again, maybe about 1 in 10, 2 in 10 do, you know, so sometimes people do. And maybe they're the numbers I need to appreciate, really, you know. I got some pin badges made once, and that didn't go down very well. I'm kind of, again, it's great if you're doing a gig and there's quite a few people there, you can throw some out into the audience. But if you're doing a gig and like 2 people and a dog are there, it's going to be a bit embarrassing throwing out badges at people, really. And yeah, maybe it's a bit of a generational thing for me as well. I think lastly, I think the only other place I want to mention today is kind of like getting your music out there, really. And, you know, I have it out on YouTube, but have never been able to work out how I get more people to notice it there. And maybe somebody can just tell me really easily, do better music. Maybe that's the answer, do better music, do better videos. We've tried to make some videos sometimes, and sometimes I put, you know, for some of our tracks, and sometimes I put live stuff on there. And, yeah, we've got some, you know, a few hundred people have seen these things. But you know, how you get more, I'm not sure. And then obviously our stuff is on Spotify, and I'm just going to tell this story because it's really frustrating. I mean, I find on Spotify and these places they say, and I think this is the key to success is to get onto playlists. But how you get onto playlists is really complex to work out, and a lot of, you know, the promoter that I use and Spotify will say, be wary of people saying, "Oh, pay us, we'll get you onto playlists." It is a little mystery in my little brain as to how to work out how to get onto a playlist. I'm not really sure. And my distributor has this it's like a little game you can play once a day, I think, where it's like a roulette wheel, and you spin this little thing, and the number you get tells you what position on their little game playlist you're on. It doesn't do much. Maybe I get 2 people every now and then listen from it. You know, and you know, I'm generally in the thousands, you know, it's a massive playlist. I'm generally in sort of 2, 3, 4,000s. I was once first, and that was very exciting. I was kind of right at the top. And I had this little period, this was just around November this year. This is Where are we today? We're in May 2025. But yeah, back in November, I was doing it all the time. I thought, I'm really going to focus on this. I don't bother a lot of the time. I'm going to do it every day. And I started being really lucky for a while and always being in like top 50 of this thing. And then, I've got, if you're an artist on Spotify, you get Spotify for artists, and it shows you every day, it updates how many people have listened to you, how many followers you have, etc. And which tracks have been listened to, what parts of the world are listening to them. Sparse reading sometimes, but other times, a few people are listening to us today. And it shows you that people are listening to you live. Never, maybe occasionally I go on and one person in that moment is listening to me just as I go on that site, on that app. But in November, suddenly, one day I look, there's about 12 people listening to us. And then it went up to 30, and then it went down to 20, and it was I was really excited. I was thinking, and when the time came out for the stats, a couple of hundred people had listened to our stuff. And the next day it was 500 people. And the next day it was 300. And on it went. And I was thinking, wow. And when I started looking at my stats, it's because I can also look at playlists you're on. And there were 2 or 3 playlists I was on. And they were like sort of, I don't know, Sounds of the Summer playlists or things like that. I thought, wow, somehow through this connection, we're in here. And this carried on for over a month. And I was telling the guys in the band that I was really excited. And we tipped this magical point on Spotify. So on Spotify, and it is very frustrating, and maybe I understand it, maybe I don't, because I think it's all a little bit unfair for small acts like us, is that they'll only show how many people have listened to a track once you reach 1,000. In one way, that's good, because if 6 people have listened to your track and it's been on there for 3 years, maybe you don't want people to know that. But if you've got 900 people listen to your track, maybe you kind of want people to know it. Anyway, I tipped the magical code. My first track, I remember, we have a track called, we know which one was it? It's called I Know. That's what I know. And it went over 1,000. And the day that I went onto Spotify, and there it said, 1,100 people. But it went on and it went on and it went up to 3,000. And then another track got up to 1,000. Another one, eventually 2 or 3 of them with 2,000, 1,000, 3,000. And I'm really excited about this. And I think clearly we've done something that's one of those breaks. I've had a break, had a little break, lucky break. And I was so chuffed about it. And then I get an email from Spotify saying they're going to ban us off Spotify if we're not careful, because we've been using AI to make fictitious playlist plays, which of course I hadn't. And then ensued a very grumpy, because I am very good with emailing and messaging, and grumpy exchanges of saying, look, this has got nothing to do with me. Why are you not policing this better? How do you know they're false? And I looked into that. I then Googled the playlists that had been playing us, and people were saying, no, this is bogus, this is false. It was gutting, absolutely gutting. And eventually, the only way I could deal with it, I had to take off I Know from the Spotify and then re-put it on. And that would show somehow they were. So I lost all of that. And then they redid all the figures based on what they felt, and none of them are over 1,000 again. So we're kind of back to this, which I tell you, it was soul destroying. One of those little nails in my coffin, and I'm still, fighting and not allowing people to close their coffin lid of my musical career, is just thinking, do you know what? That was sort of cruel, really. It kind of felt like, I'm not looking, as I've said before, really, to be the next big thing. But it was just a step. It was just a little move on. And to have that, and then someone kicked the ladder away from my feet and just back down my went. And in a way, I went to lower than I felt before, because, it's hard being out there trying to promote yourself and not really knowing what's going to work and what's not. The other thing that's hard to do is to get festival gigs. And for small bands like us, there's a great guy I know called Mark down in Cornwall who promotes, and he promotes festivals in Looe, and we're playing at the Looe Festival in September, and that's great. But most of the festivals are nowadays, to be on them, you have to be in an agency. And again, this is the opposite of what I'm talking about in a sense, because I'm quite keen to support and promote the idea of being independent, small bands, being able to get gigs. But I've noticed the change even in the last 5 or 6 years of being able to get 2 or 3 festival gigs over. You have to do it in December, January, to really not being able to get onto any of them. You have to apply online. It's like, I don't know, when you're complaining to a gas company or something, you have to fill in a form. It's completely impersonal. You get a reply just saying, you'll only hear if you've been successful, and if you haven't been successful, you won't. And again, what I do find is if I've got a snifty, if I can talk to somebody, it's interesting because I don't like the cold call, but if I get chatting, if I'm at a venue and I'm chatting, I'm quite good at talking and chatting and sort of, and I've done that once or twice talking about festivals with people, been able to get a festival slot because I'm really good at chatting about it. And there's a few. There's another one. There's now what's it called? Tavi Fringe, I think, in Tavistock. We're playing at that, and they're lovely people. And again, it's through communication and contact that you're able to develop that. But places, it's really been sealed down a lot of festivals, so it's quite hard to do. If you run a festival, hey, look, come and get in touch with me. They're shameless promoting as I finish this one. Well, look, I'm going to go and get on with my day. I hope everybody is fine and well. Thank you for being here. Do subscribe to this channel if you're here, especially if you're here for the first time. You're very welcome. If you're here for more than the first time, thank you so much for sitting and listening to me going on and on. Yeah, you can follow my band on and you can search hashtag Music the Curve to find us, or just follow the black and yellow links really. And yeah, thank you for being here, and I will look forward to seeing you again very soon. Don't go searching for what isn't there. Look me full in the face.